Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to show you the process of this portrait commission I got from a very interesting project. So it is a commission that I got from a podcast, and the podcast is like a multimedia project. And the name is Meet Jules and James. I will have a link down in the description so that you can see for yourself. And the very cool thing that intrigued me right away was that it is a painting that actually get described in the podcast. So there is a painter named James, and he painted this portrait of a girl in the sky. The title of the painting, according to the story, is Empirical Night. A limited edition of 20 prints is available on my website, both in the basic and in the embellished version. Real quick before we start, for in-depth painting tutorials, head over to my Patreon page and select the $5 reward tier. You get instant access to over 30 painting tutorials, which you can download, insights into my work in progress, helpful art material posts, and I answer all of your questions. For $10 a month, you get exclusive access to my live stream and real-time painting videos. For $15 and more, you get beautiful art surprises, fine art prints, original watercolor illustrations, and much more. And it is so atmospheric how it is described. So I will read you a bit of the text that I got to describe the actual painting. Blues and blacks are woven together, but abstractly. There's no pattern or symmetry, and there are ghostly clouds drifting across the canvas. They're not white, more like suggestions of clouds. And stars, lots and lots of stars. That's the backdrop. Night sky, clouds and stars. In the center, woven into the ribbons of the night sky, is the face of a woman. And the face is composed of ribbons too, similar to the way I painted the sky. So they're interwoven, her face and the sky, like she's maybe part of the night sky. And she's pale, very, very pale, with ruby red lips, the only spot of brightness in the palette. Then I added luminance to her face. So depending on where you stand and how light hits it, it glows. Her hair is several shades of blues and blacks, and it blends in with the ribbons of the night. Her hair, it's sort of flying around, twisting into the sky. And her eyes, they look dark, but when you get close, you can see that her face and the sky are repeated patterns in her eyes, reflecting the night, an endless night. So isn't that an absolutely intriguing way of describing a painting? It was so exciting, like so magical and mysterious, and I was so honored that I could make this painting for the podcast. So I definitely loved doing this painting, and I found this description just wonderful for a commission. And also it reminded me of the cases when I get commissions. So basically when I do commissions, I always let the client decide what they want. So I never try to talk them into an idea that I want to realize or the way I would do them. I always try to just realize the concept that they have in a way that I find interesting. And then I send them a Photoshop mock-up, and then they oftentimes want to have some changes here and there. And then I sometimes, when I can't decide, I, for example, send them 2 or 3 different versions, maybe with a different hair color or different eyes or just different proportions. And what I kind of made the experience is that people choose these mock-ups that I wouldn't choose, and I find this super interesting, because oftentimes when I choose my painting, sometimes I always have the technique in mind. So for example, I don't take like this one because like this is too simple, I don't want to paint that, or this is too much detail, or something like that. And the absolute like fascinating thing for me is when I then upload a composition or just like the final painting on Instagram, and then people point out the things that the client insisted me on painting. For example, like I had a commission where I did a book cover, and the eyes of the model should have the same color like the necklace of the model. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't really matter. Like I don't think this is like so important, and I would just skip it. But the client really said this is important for the story. And then when I uploaded the picture, like people loved that, and then they said, wow, it's the same color. And I just think it's so interesting how much I can learn from just people that are maybe not really into art and aren't artists, but just the way other people perceive art and artwork is so interesting. And it always surprises me when I do commissions, and I'm so grateful for it, because I just have my own glasses, and I only see like my little vision of things. And when people just say to me, hey, I want this absolute simple composition, like only a face in the sky, like this composition, I would personally just say I would never paint that because it is too simple. Like I'm kind of over it. I see myself as a person that I have to paint like 100 details because the painting must be perfect. Like things like this really sometimes are rocks and things that hinder me, rather than just paint simple things, because simple things can be so beautiful as well, like this painting. And I just wouldn't have painted something like that. And I'm so grateful that people commissioning paintings from me, and they kind of direct me in the one direction or in another direction. And it's so interesting. Just I love to be sometimes an instrument to realize other people's idea, but not 100%. So like they send me their ideas, and then it goes through my kind of filter, and then something comes out in the end. And this is so interesting. And I hope that I will get more interesting and fascinating commissions in the future. And yeah, what I wanted to share with you is that if you are already in a position where people want commission art from you, and they kind of want things from you that you never did before, or that you would say, oh, like actually I don't paint like this or that, I would say if the commission is like not something when people like say, okay, I want you to paint this, and I only pay like that amount for it, and it's too low. Like when you get an appropriate amount of money for your work, but it is maybe a motive or maybe something that you wouldn't really paint, do it. Absolutely do it. It opens your eyes. It opens your eyes to so many new things. And it's not only with commissions. So I already talked about it in another video where I participated in a group show where I had to paint like an artist, like Alphonse Mucha. And by the way, I looked it up, and it is pronounced like that. So some of the links you sent me, they said it is pronounced like that. So if I don't pronounce it right, just keep sending me links. I will just take one of the pronunciations from it. So this, like trying to paint something that you never did before, but still maintaining your style, this is absolutely eye-opening and absolutely important for your development as an artist, and I can totally recommend it. And yeah, it can happen with every opportunity, basically. If you get a commission or an invitation for an exhibition, or even if you are starting out and you don't have any like more professional opportunities, it could also be entry in a competition or a project that you do in your class or at university, or other things that are like this are hashtags on Instagram, like Inktober or other projects. All of those things that get you out of the comfort zone and that you take seriously are definitely worth it. So if you don't take like your art project seriously, then of course it won't work out. And also, if you struggle and you don't get it right the first try, the first attempt, don't worry about it. I can't stress it enough. I repainted and restarted so many paintings for various occasions over and over again, so don't worry about it. Paint as many paintings as you like until you're happy, or until you think, okay, I did everything, I did 10 approaches and the last one is not as bad as the first one, that I'm happy. So don't expect like wonders if you're just starting out. This is really normal. I can remember my first years of learning painting from my boyfriend. It was so frustrating. It was so I just thought I will never ever learn it and I will suck forever at it, and then I will suffer forever because I can't make it. But the thing that got me through it was that I believed that every painting is better than the last one. And it took, I think, 6 years. I think approximately 6 years of painting. I didn't paint every day, but I painted several days a week, several hours, and sometimes I painted more and less. And yeah, it took so long for me to get at this skill level. And I started really basic. So my first drawings are just search in random artist that is 15 on Instagram, and then you have my first drawing. So I was really not more talented than others. The only thing that maybe distinguishes artists like me is that they don't give up and that they are relentless and they just persist and just they don't want to give in, and they just don't want the artwork win over them. So for example, sometimes if you have a painting and the painting say to you, I'm a bad painting, I'm so ugly, and then you said, no, you're not. You will become a good and a wonderful painting, and I will paint you as often as I have to until you get a good painting. I think my boyfriend came up with this funny metaphor. I never saw it that way, but it was very clear. So don't let the painting win. Another thing, so if you wonder how I did the universe background, and if you want to learn how I painted this, I have a specific technique for how I paint stars, and I explain it in detail on my Patreon page. If you like to learn that, just check that out. Yeah, and now something non-art related. I finished my Dean Koontz book, The Darkest Nights, and my memory didn't fail me. So I remembered that I loved everything about the book except for the end was weird and too fast. And yeah, I was right. So I think the book is, I don't know, like 9 years old. So maybe Dean Koontz might have improved on his way how he ends his stories. I hope so. So I will definitely buy a new book from him because it was really great. And a good end of a book for me is, especially if you build up the story and everything is super thrilling and the whole story is built up to the finale. The finale has to be long too. It doesn't have to be super quick and just only over 10 pages. So if the whole book built up to this finale, in my experience, the finale should be very like exciting and thrilling, and there should happen a lot of things and not just the villains die in an instant. So for me, this is not a good ending for a thrilling story. But yeah, the most parts of the book I enjoyed so much, and it totally motivated me. So sometimes when I paint, then I kind of get distracted by stuff and I procrastinate. But when I have something that I can work towards, like I will read that book later, I'm looking forward to it, but before I have to finish like this part of the painting, or I have to stuff that I don't want to do, this is really a good motivating factor. So I will go tomorrow to the bookstore and look for another Dean Koontz book. I don't want to buy it on Amazon because I really love bookstores and I just like being in them, and I don't want bookstores to be extinct. So maybe it helps them when I buy one book in a year. I hope so, at least. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Those little treats, especially as a self-employed person, are a good motivating factor. And I have those days where I don't want to work. I don't even want to paint. Sometimes I just don't want to do anything. But I'm glad that I really don't have much of these days. Only sometimes, and then I'm just binge watching YouTube videos, and after that I feel bad. So this happens too. I hope you liked seeing the process, and maybe you like the podcast too. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye bye!